Well, to be honest, I was kind of worried about Umelke opening because I was at Košice, Banska Štiavnica, and each time it's kind of a different situation, and he's really playing with my head. So I was kind of like, oh God, again, I have to look at the same pictures in a different place, and I don't know, Banska Štiavnica was really a completely different experience. But at Umelke, I was kind of a little bit worried about what would happen, and because of Martin's work with mental health, you get kind of different kind of people coming along. Some I know, some I don't know, but it has different kind of ambience and vibe going on, and there's kind of light here as well. And I kind of knew what Martin was going to do, but you never know what he's going to do because he always likes to play with you a little bit or make you think again. But I kind of had this sudden realization here with Umelke that the work's fun. There's kind of a real kind of joy about it, even though it's dealing with kind of heavy subjects, difficult things, anxieties, problems we all have, weird feelings. But that was kind of my big takeaway, that suddenly went, wait, hey, this is kind of fun. It's meant to be a bit of a pleasure to look at and be in. Some you kind of begin to know quite well. And so, always there's something else to look at, the color of the paper, or just, I'm kind of always interested in how they're made, of course. So there was that, and seeing them in a different place. But I think, he said that I think everything was the same, but I think there's two different paintings that I can't remember from Košice or Banska Štiavnica. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe my memory is not that good. For me, it really comes down to kind of a very simple thing, really, that I look for in other people's work, and I kind of try and bring out in my own work. And that's really kind of a simplicity and a clarity, and that leads to an elegance. And this is kind of like a simplicity of thinking, a clarity of thinking, and that leads to an elegance of thinking. But also the forms have this kind of straightforward quality to them. The colors are kind of really refined, and I think I sense that in Martin's work, even though it's something it's stylistically that I kind of would walk away from in a sense, but there's something about it that I've written elsewhere that kind of draws you in. It makes you kind of want to look again. So that's it, really. I kind of like it in the sense because obviously, you make a painting and it's designed to be looked at from the front, I'm kind of always interested in how it's hung and what's happening to the edges. And the back of the painting is something you obviously don't really look at. And, I hate to think what the back of mine are like, covered in footprints and mess, and the title changed 7 times, But it's kind of interesting because you suddenly realize a certain one, especially the big paintings with the cutouts, how they're constructed. And that's kind of interesting as well, because it's like, wait, I don't get this, what's going on when you're looking from the front, but then you see the kind of the backstage theater, as it were, someone pulling the ropes. So yeah, it's I think interesting as well, kind of conceptually, to see that. And I think there's that thing that you start also, you focus on the holes, and just noticing the hole and what that kind of does from the back, kind of formally, where it is. I guess I've known Martin about 4.5, 5 years, and kind of don't see him that often, sort of maybe once a year. But I think we kind of made a connection, really. I kind of understood he was a painter, and he kind of came to where I was living, a house where I was living, and I usually work very slowly. I started to make a lot of paintings, and he kind of came there expecting one thing. Then he suddenly realized, oh, wait, there's something interesting here. So we kind of have this bond through the painting, really. And, there's a kind of, I think, a dialogue that goes on. But I think the main thing is, don't really use usually a lot of words. We're not there talking late night, It's because I think that there's, again, that simplicity about it and that elegance about it, that it doesn't need a big explanation.